Hey everyone, it's Rob the Backyard Gardener here, and I wanted to get you updated on the Cantaloupe series. It's actually the Cantaloupe and the Watermelon series. I've been just focusing on the Cantaloupe the last few episodes because they're the ones with the most action. But I figure it's time to go ahead and get you caught up on not just the Cantaloupe this time, but the Watermelon as well. So let's go take a look. So we'll start with the Cantaloupe first. And I wanted to show you guys, you saw in the last video, I slung up the cantaloupes pretty good. And they're still hanging on there. And what's really cool is if you look really closely, this green is starting to turn a little bit yellow. So I know there's some ripening going on. It's still going to be a little bit. You can really tell on these guys when they're ready to pull off by how the stem is attached. And based on this stem, it's still got some time to go. This would start separating, and we're not anywhere near separating. There's still a lot of green around it. Now, the little leaves around it have died. So it's starting the ripening process, but this honeydew or cantaloupe, whichever it ends up being, is definitely still got probably another month. And then on to this one, same thing, guys. Sorry for the dirty hands, I was digging in the dirt. But it's starting to go from green to a lighter green, almost a yellowish color. So it's ripening as well. And once again, you can tell by the stem is still fully attached. You will slowly see that start to dry up and start to separate when you know it's ready. But when I knock on it, it's starting to sound like it's got some water in there. So I know it's ripening pretty good, and that makes me excited. Despite my best efforts to continue to fertilize this and get other fruit sets, it just won't. I don't know if it's the heat or if it's the whitefly problem I've been treating. Now, I've been having a lot of whiteflies on this, and I've been treating with neem oil. And if I tap these, I don't know, I treated it this morning. Probably not gonna see any maybe. It's not too bad, but it was whitefly city. Every 2 days I have to go here and treat it with neem oil, and I don't know if the neem oil is starting to have adverse effects on it, but it's killing the whiteflies, but it looks like it's not helping the plant too much either. And I know it's plant safe organic neem oil, but you never know what it's going to do with any kind of vining type plant. However, it looks like on my other cantaloupe that's growing over here, we actually might have ourselves another fruit set. Look at that little cutie. So looks like we might have a fruit set there. And this little guy looks like he ain't gonna make it. He's already got that yellow color, which indicates he wasn't pollinated. But that one looks pretty good. That one was just set a few days ago, so we'll keep an eye on him over the next few weeks and see how he does. And finally, on this side of the yard, I also have another cantaloupe plant. He's growing like crazy all of a sudden. It's been the heat along with the rain, and he looks really healthy, guys. The problem is there's no fruit sets on him just yet. I've been scouring all over him. He's got a good combination of male and female flowers, but there hasn't been one cantaloupe set on him just yet. Every time we get a chance at one, it shrivels away. So we'll keep an eye on him. He seems to be starting to be rearing to go, at least, and so I'm assuming in the next couple of weeks we'll get a fruit set on this guy. So I've been hesitant on providing you a watermelon update because I haven't been able to get any fruit sets on the watermelon. They're growing like crazy. They're putting out a ton of flowers, male flowers, but not a lot of female flowers. And that's not uncommon for watermelon. Most watermelon vines, you'll see, they put out about 7 to 10 male flowers for every female. So you gotta let them vine, you gotta let them grow. You gotta hope that when they put out the female every 7 or to 10 male flowers that they actually get pollinated. And I'm not always home to try to hand pollinate or do it myself. So I've been prolonging the update, like I said, but I think that I've got a fruit set on a few different plants that I have growing for the watermelon varieties, and I wanted to show you. So let's take a little closer look. Okay, amongst all the squash trees and pepper plants, I do have way down here an Icebox Watermelon. Now this is one that I got from a big box retailer that was already started, and guys, he is growing all amongst all this stuff down here. But I believe we have got our first fruit set right here. It looks pretty good. The fact that it's curled here and has its lines, it appears as though we've got an Icebox Watermelon fruit set. So that's one of the varieties I'm growing, and I believe that's going to be able to produce me a watermelon this year. Now, I've gone in and out of these, and there's a few other ones that look very similar to that. So I could have 3 fruit sets. Not exactly sure. We'll have to give it some time. I believe I also have another one right down in here. I believe that's a pretty good fruit set. You never know though, with watermelons and cantaloupes, sometimes you think you got one, and then sometimes they just die up. But looks like on my Icebox one, we've got a couple of different fruit sets, a couple of different chances. We'll see. Now let's go take a look at some of my other watermelons. As I walk you back to this side of the yard, guys, I'm gonna warn you, the watermelon vining is going crazy, and I've debated on pruning them, but from everything I've read and everything I've been told, you really shouldn't prune watermelon vines. There's some math involved about how the square footage of leaves yields more abundant fruit, more larger fruit, more sweeter fruit. So I don't want to be trimming it up. I understand there's some other methods where once you have a couple of different fruit sets on a vine, you can pluck those off so that you only have 1 or 2 fruit sets. That way you get a larger fruit. Listen, we're not doing any of that. You will see that I'm letting this stuff go wild, and I'm okay with it. Let's go take a look. So over here, I've got a couple of Jubilee watermelons that I've started from seed, and some Charleston gray watermelons that I've started from seed. And starting back here, you can clearly see we've got a growing vine, and this is a good 12 feet away from the original spot where I planted it. There's several vines coming along here, guys. I'm trying to grow these somewhat vertically as well as on the ground. They've jumped over the fence. They're already here on this side of the yard, which I'm fine with. We're just going to continue to let all of these just grow and vine like crazy. They're running up my makeshift trellises. They're running up the trellises over here. But I also have a few Jubilees and Charlestons over on this side, and they are going absolutely bonkers. I had some potatoes that were over here that must have sprouted, and they are being dragged down by the sheer volume of watermelon vines. So I inspected these plants quite a bit, and I believe down here we have got ourselves, and based on the shape of this bud, it looks like a Jubilee watermelon fruit set. So he looks pretty good. Looks like we definitely got at least one right here on this side of the yard. All right, guys, I'm digging in here, and it looks like we've got a pretty good example of a watermelon fruit set. It's still pretty small, but this tendril's gotten really long right here, and it's fallen straight down, which is usually an indication that you've got a fruit set or a good fruit set. So that might be right there the best example I have. But as I was digging around, I noticed another one. I know it just looks like a flower, but it's closing up. It looks healthy still. I'm thinking that might be another watermelon as well. I could very well have several more in here, but I'm not going to be able to locate them right now. They could be anywhere in there. So, wanted to give you an update. The watermelon is going like crazy, growing like crazy, both sides. But I'm sure in the next week I'll be able to identify some good fruit sets, because they'll be about the size of a ping pong ball. And at that point, I'll be able to put them out. So I'm super excited to update you on the next video in this series. So there you have it, everyone. That's the watermelon and cantaloupe from seed series update today. You know, it's mostly about the cantaloupes right now, but I wanted to give you a look at the watermelon vines because they're going crazy. the female flowers are just starting to come in like crazy, and I knew if I skipped including the watermelon in this episode, you guys would be kind of in the dark when it came up to the next episode. So again, I'm going to plan on giving you an update either next weekend or the weekend after, unless something crazy happens on the watermelon. If I get something over the next week, you will be updated on that. I hope you're enjoying the series. If you are, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching. I do have way down here an Icebox lemon watermelon.